Alrighty, so we're on to 4-6, which is multiplying polynomials. Very, very, very similar to what we just did before when we were basically distributing monomials to polynomials. But now, instead of just having like one number to distribute to both, we have kind of two numbers, or you can have three. You can do this with as many as you need. All you have to make sure is that you have more parts to distribute, that everything gets distributed to everything. So we have these two. This means that the 2x has to get distributed to the 3x, and it has to get distributed to the 2. The 5 has to get distributed to the 3x and the 2. Okay, so you gotta make sure both get distributed to everything. Now, if it's the same part, not gonna get distributed. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Multiply the numbers, multiply x times x, which is x squared because you add the exponents. 2x times 2, which is 4x. 5 times 3x, which is 15x. And 5 times 2, which is 10. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms, so I get 6x squared plus 19x plus 10. And this is what you have. Now, when you're multiplying two binomials, again, just make sure you cover all your bases and you're fine. But there's actually a real name for it that we use. It's called foiling, because FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. And it's like what you multiply by. I'm going to show you it with this one. And I think I actually did it this way without realizing. You don't have to do it in that order, but it helps you make sure that you do. So you see how you take the first term, so I did 2x times 3x. Those are both the first terms of both binomials, okay? And I got 6x squared. Then I took the outer terms. I took 2x, and I multiplied it by 2, because those are both on the outside of the terms. Inner terms, 5x times 3, both on the inside. And then the 5 and 2, which are the last terms of each binomial, and that's how it works. So if you ever hear me say FOIL, it only works for two binomials, and it's basically telling you to multiply the polynomials, okay? Kind of like distributing just like that. Now, if you have this is, you technically can't FOIL because this is a binomial and a trinomial, but it's, again, the same process. You're going to multiply, make sure each term gets multiplied. So I'm going to say 3x times 2x squared, which is 6x to the third. Then I'm going to do 3x times negative 5x, which is negative 15x squared. 3x times negative 4, which is negative 12x. Now I'm going to start doing with the negative 2. Negative 2 times 2x squared, which is a minus 4x squared. Negative 2 times a negative 5x, which is a positive 10x, and negative 2 times a negative 4, which is a positive 8. Go ahead and combine like terms. So I have 6x cubed. I have negative 19x squared. Then I have negative 2x, and then I have plus 8. Again, just make sure you do it methodical so that you don't forget to do any terms, okay? You don't have to draw it if you like these little line things, but you can to help you. Just be careful that you do everything. It doesn't matter what order because you could always rearrange it. But there. Alrighty. Again, it doesn't matter how many terms, so I'm just going to go methodically. So y times x, x to the cube, so I'm going to do x cubed y. I like to do it all the variables in the same order. So like I'm going to do all of them x, y, just so it's easier for me to identify like terms. So y times negative 2y cubed, which would be negative 2y to the fourth. Y times this, which is plus 3xy to the third. Y times this, which would be plus x squared y squared. Now I'm going to do 2x times 3x cubed, which would be 2x to the fourth. 2x times that, so it's going to be a negative 4xy cubed. 2x times that, so plus 3x squared y squared. And 2x times that, which will be plus 2x cubed y. Okay, so like terms. So since I did x before y for every single one, it'll help me identify like terms better. If you mixed up the orders, then it's going to be harder to tell which ones are like terms. So I'm going to start with the 4. Okay, so I'm going to start with the highest x's. I like to do it in order. So I have 2x to the 4th. Then I'm going to try to find x's with 3's in it, which is this one and this one, because they're x cubed y. So that's 1 plus 2, which will be a plus 3x cubed y. Now I'm going to find x squared, which is this one, and this one, which would be 4x squared y squared. I'm going to find x to the 1st, which is this one and this one, and it's x and then y to the 3rd. So we have a negative, because it's plus 3 minus 4, negative xy to the 3rd. And then lastly, I have this one right here, which is negative 2y to the 4th. See, if I took the highest x, the x's went down, and believe it or not, the y's went up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Very nice. So just be methodical, organized. Now, when giving a simplified polynomial as a final answer, that you'll usually be ordered from highest to lowest, the highest degree to lowest degree. Okay. So again, I did it by x's, so I did 4, 3, 2, 1, and then none. So just do that. That's how you're going to see my answers. Technically, it's not wrong, but that's easier to check, easier to see, so on and so forth. So again, so that's going to be 6x to the 3rd. Negative 12x squared, negative 33x, 4x squared, negative 8x, and negative 22. So we'll go with the highest term of x to the 3rd. Then I'll take the squareds, which will give me a negative 8x squared. We'll take just the x's, which will give me a negative 41x. And then lastly, my number. There you have it. Not too bad. Very similar to what we just did.